Can you hear me, Michael?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry about that. It's really difficult getting reception out here.
There he is. Yeah. I see. That could be. Are you up in the peaks? You in the peaks?
No, I'm in the district.
Lake District.
Yeah.
Wow, mate.
Let me know if there's any problem with sound or
Yeah. We might have, like you say, a bit of intimate. It's good to see you. Good to see you. It's been ages.
yeah.
Feels like a long time.
Yeah, it has been.
Yeah, mate. There you are. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been tough. I'm just gonna bring you forward.
Yeah. It's lovely you got the trees behind you. I've got a candle lit for us anyway.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I've got a giant bull ox.
Yeah, you got the ox. Well, that's what we need. We need the ox. I'm sure you know what the symbolism of the ox is, bruv.
Yes. Right, I've got my cacao.
Oh, good. I've got coffee and my howlite
Oh,
and a
nice
bit of
one.
sage and a bit of sage. Yeah. So, how
Mm.
are you then, mate? How are you? Have you landed there? Have you? How long you been there?
Um,
How long you been there?
what's the date today? 9/9. So I've been here 12 days. And
Okay.
it's been really difficult to land. Um, it's really strange. I've never experienced anything like it. It brought up an enormous amount of winding because essentially Hazel and I lost our home in Wales, and
Yeah.
because it was so stressful, the moving and the painting and the horrible landlord, uh, the stress was off the charts, and we we had to drive. We had to do 3 trips to Cardiff to put all our stuff in storage, so a whole house worth in one car. Um, and then we had to fit all of the remaining stuff in one car, which was really something, like bags everywhere and stacked right up. And 6, 7 hour drive to the Lake District. And then when we got here, I kind of panicked. Um, it's really good to speak to you, Michael.
Yeah, I love you, mate. I've got you, bro. I've got you, man. I've got you, mate. I'm right here.
Right, let's just keep trying. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So where was I? Yeah, landing here has been really difficult because um, it brought up this wound of losing my home,
Cool.
and because we went from working with just me and Hazel for nearly 5 years, so working on ourselves and each other, we've been trying to work on the third line of consciousness. We tried that back in 2020 and it went really badly. It went really badly because the people that we were working with weren't pure and they tried to take advantage of us. Um, and we've still been healing that. It's tremendously destructive. And so um, when we came here, we were received by Katie, and she's just she's like a saint. So caring and just genuine. And so when I came into that atmosphere with two women, so Hazel and Katie, uh, I freaked out. I completely freaked out. Um, it felt like and looked like I'd never done a day's work in my life. It brought up this enormous wound of family on such a deep level that I didn't even know I had this wounding. And it showed up in the most peculiar and small things. I asked them to watch a movie with me, and they forgot. I had a meltdown, and I asked Hazel about it in the middle of the night, and she had this vision of me sat on my own uh, in my house as a kid, and it brought back all these memories of having an older brother and an older sister who never wanted to play with me, and so I was just sat on my own. And it's not just about my childhood and me, it's about my connection to life and to the collective. So it's fucking enormous, absolutely enormous. And what, I really wanted to talk to you. It's been so difficult because um, what was coming up for me, I needed to bounce. And I couldn't bounce it off you because there was, I couldn't get reception. And so that added to it, that added to the stress. And I was having discourse with the landlord trying to rip us off. So I've had to take it down the legal route. No, I've never had to do that before. So the stress has been off the charts. Problems with the car and money. We had problems with money. You know, and she wanted to withhold our deposit and all this. So it's been tremendously painful. But the wound itself, and this is where I have to be really delicate and sensitive, was I didn't understand as a child in an adult's body what this energy was showing me, because what came up, and I'm just going to be brutally open here, Michael, about what happened to me as a kid. And I'm not going to be afraid of speaking my truth here right now because it happened. And this isn't about blame. This is about remembering. As an adult, the effects of, let's just say, abuse or misparenting as a child. So what was coming up when I was sat down just in the same room as them, I was, how do I put this into words? Polyamory kept coming up, and I had no idea why. I had to do a video on it. As when I was in Wales, I got these, I did several ceremonies, and over the period of 2 months, I got three visions of the future of what's happening. Because today's it's the 999, right?
Yeah,
And
you
it's
you
just
told me
it's
about that.
yeah, and it's such a powerful day. And these days been leading up to it have been horrendous. And I want to talk about how it's affecting you and other men and things. But what I was shown is that there's a split between the light and dark of, kind of destruction and the end of the world, kind of like how it is already. And then this lie of the love and light that leads to like, oh yeah, we love each other. Let's make love with each other, like the 60s. And it's horrible. It's a horrible distortion of sex, right? And some when I put the video up on YouTube, someone left a comment saying, yeah, but it's polyamory in its purity. There's no such thing. There is no such thing. I was shown by spirit on this really, fine line of purity between these two choices, the third way, that true love comes through monogamy. And the reason, and it's a distortion of oneness, because it mirrors what happens in the spiritual field in this density, but I don't want to get into that. It's too complicated. I want to show you how I figured this out, right? So I had this wound as a kid, and then as me coming here as an adult, feeling this distortion of life force energy that was showing itself as sexual. And so I was freaking out big time, freaking out. I turned into a full-on narcissist. It was like I hadn't done a day of work, right, on myself. And so I know other people are going through this, right? But I want to explain how important this wound is and how it leads to thinking that polyamory is an option, right? So when I was a kid, what came up for me, and this is why it was so difficult for me, and again, this is not about blame, is that when I was a child, say, let's just say I think I was about 5, could have been 4, but let's just say I was 5 years old. I had a shower we had 2 showers. It was a big house, one upstairs, but one in the kitchen. And I used to hate showering in the kitchen. It was the only stand-up shower that we had. And my family used to take turns in washing me, my sister, my mother, or my father. And at that age, I remember I started to get erections.
Mm.
And my sister came in to wash me and she started laughing at me. And then my mum came in and she started laughing. And then for the rest of my life, my brother bullied me about it. Now, that doesn't sound like much, but that's sexual abuse. That's humiliation on a really deep level. And it's created all these problems for me where um, I didn't want a family, didn't want to be in a family. It's too scary for me. And
Take a
take a
moment.
moment.
I can
I
see
can
you.
see you.
I see you in
I
the
see you in the
shower.
shower.
I saw
I
how you
saw
would
how you
be
would be
huddled, deep
huddled, deep
rounded, and you'd be
grounded, and
sort
you'd
of
be
trying to
trying to
protect that
protect that
natural
natural
erection.
erection. Yeah, but what it created was so many distortions. Number one, body dysmorphia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Body dysmorphia, um, feeling sexually inadequate, um, not feeling confident or attractive in myself.
Mm.
And the biggest one, which is why I freaked out when I was here and why it's brought us up, not feeling safe in my body. Right. I tell you how bad it was, right? Whenever I had a new girlfriend and I'd invite her around to have dinner with my family, they would bring it up and mock me in front of my girlfriend. That's how bad it was. And it comes across as, yeah, oh, we were just playing. It's not though. Families shouldn't treat each other like that. You know that. And again, like I said, I just keep saying it. It's not about blame. I don't blame anyone for this. This is just, wounding through families and bloodlines and all of that stuff. I get it, But what happens is it leads to enormous distortions in sexuality. So that happened when I was 5. When it comes to puberty, I'm already fucked. Completely screwed. And so it leads to perversion. Because when you look at yourself, when I looked at myself sexually, I didn't see a pure man. And so if I don't see myself as pure, I don't act or behave pure. This is an existential masculine wound I'm talking about here. How it happened to me is different for you, different for many men who have experienced the same thing. And so when I came here and it felt like family, it brought up this distortion or polyamory. Now, if you think about polyamory, it means multiple love, multiple partners. Poly means multiple, and amory means love. It's it's a really deep, it's a really deep distortion of family um, abuse on life force. It's nothing to do with sex, right? When I'm 5 years old and I'm getting an erection, it's not because I was aroused. I didn't hit puberty. I didn't even understand, right? This is how naive I was. I didn't even know what masturbation was. I had to learn it from a biology book. And I didn't hit puberty till I was 14. And it was extremely awkward for me because I didn't have anybody to initiate me, to talk to me about it or anything. And so I was saying to Hazel when I was going through this, like I just checked the news. I've been checking the news, which I don't normally do. Just not just online newspaper, The Independent, just to check what's going on. And there's been a lot of mass shootings from men, and they call them incels. And incels is a guy who doesn't know how to connect with women and essentially has no friends or purpose. And I know exactly how that feels. And that energy does make men want to kill themselves and kill other people. And it's based on this distortion of tribe and family. And it's all to do with life force being humiliated. This is why these people that go out there, I'm telling you, Michael, the pain was enormous. I went to see a guy about my back. I had a problem with my sacral bone and my legs were out of alignment. One was longer than the other. And I was in enormous back pain, right? From all the driving and the lifting from packing at the house. And it's a wound I've had since I was 24. I put some discs out, right? And I go to see the guy and he's doing all this myofascia stuff, which is really amazing. And he said to you, how do you feel right now? He's got my leg up here by my shoulder and doing all these strange things with it. And he says, how do you feel? I said, I feel like I want to kill someone. And he said, oh, please don't kill me then. Ha ha ha. But I was serious. I felt like I wanted to kill someone. And it was all in my sexual. And that's where the sexual energy comes from. And that's where the life force comes from. And that's where we steal it from women. And this is what I want to move on to next. So then Hazel came into her moon time on the day that we left, right? So all of that wounding plus a moon time, I was going mental. I was going fucking ape shit. And Hazel said, and you know I work with animal spirits, so this was a really shocking one for me. She said, I see a werewolf, right? And we're, this podcast, Wolf Walkers, a werewolf. And I was like, oh shit. Because werewolves are, not something to be messed with. They're highly, highly, highly energized, huge, just like in the movies, terrifying. But I've been brave enough to try and purify that, right? And it was a fucking blood moon on the 7th, right? And then Katie went into her moon time, right? So all this stuff's coming out, and I'm like, okay, what is this? What's this werewolf about? And then it hit me. I got it, right? The narcissistic cycle of idealization, devaluing, discarding, and hoovering is in complete alignment when it's in a distorted male body, which is every male body. It's in distorted alignment with the menstrual cycle. I can't believe I've never seen that before. It's so obvious. It's so obvious. Think about it, right? When when a woman goes into the letting go process of autumn, which is where the leaves start to fall, that triggers the abandonment wound. So that triggers is so in that autumn, that narcissistic cycle of devaluing starts to come in. So like, what are you doing? Why are you behaving like that? What's happening with you? I need your help, pestering. And then when she starts to let go, it starts to lead to discard. I don't you're I don't want I don't want to be near you. I don't want this from you. And sexual abuse, so wanting sex, right? I wasn't going through that, but normally I would have been because I've done so much work on it. And so I started abusing I started abusing Hazel emotionally, right? And I was inside, I felt like I'd lost complete control over myself. And so this was coming out, complete loss of complete control. I'd forgot, like I said, like I felt like I hadn't done a day's work in my life. It was horrendous. And then when she started bleeding, that energy starts to dissipate and that goes into hoovering. Oh, I feel really guilty. I shouldn't have done that. This is all my fault. What am I going to do about this? This was happening internally. And then when the full release has happened, there's idealization. But then Katie went into her moon time. So I've been in this void between discard and hoovering and all this enormous guilt of like, oh no, how could I behave like that? I've been invited to someone's house, and all they've done is just show me compassion. And I'm going crazy. I don't want to be here. Why are we stuck in here? Why aren't we going out? Blah, 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 making it all about me. And, I try, I'm in this beautiful place, walk around here, go down to the lake and stuff. And I go down to the lake one time at night time on this boardwalk. It's idyllic, it's like if you're on holiday, you'd be like, oh wow, this is paradise, this is life. Not for me. I was I was like, why am I here? Why am I here? And then I could hear someone in one of their houses having a full-on rage outburst. And I was like, well, at least I'm not alone, right? At least I'm not the only one going through it. And I got a story from Katie, how one of her friends, she's got a whole family full of men, she's a mother, and they're all trying to kill each other and her. So all of this has been coming up, this tribal wound of family sexual abuse. But it's again, I want to really enforce this meaning. It's not about sex. It's life force. It's life force. It's this creation energy. And I was saying that I was freaking out, right? Because Katie's a crafter. She makes drums. She makes loads of stuff with her hands, and so's Hazel, right? And so there's these two artists, these two really powerful creators in the room, and it was making me go mad. It was really triggering, and I thought, you know, how would this apply if I was a different man, if I was Michael, or if I was someone else? Would this have this same reaction? And it was because Hazel received a lot of healing from it, but for me, it created a lot of uplift, a lot of like pulling the rug from underneath me. That's what it felt like. So I couldn't stand up against my ego. I felt like I'd fallen, and I'd hurt myself enormously. I really did. And so this comes back to what I said to you, I think, in one of our previous sessions about how powerful art is. But what I mean is creation, creating art, right? And so they're making all these bags and stuff. And as soon as they stop, I start to feel okay again. And so there's this huge wound, existential wound between the masculine and the feminine around creation magic. Um, it's really difficult for women because as soon as they stop doing what they were doing and try to create their lives, it has an enormous trigger on the masculine. And so the wounding that was coming up was, we would talk about it, I'd feel better, then the next day I would sleep and it would be there again. It was like I'd left Wales and come here. It was like I left Wales and came here with all of this baggage. And each day I had to go in, open that suitcase of shit, get rid of it. And then the next day, another suitcase, like suitcases full of wounding. And it was horrible. And it's because Hazel and I spent so much time working in the one and the two because we got betrayed so many times in the three that finally working in the three with someone healthy who could actually stand in their purity and that energy meant that all of this baggage was coming up. It was absolutely horrendous. So I'm intrigued that there's probably a lot more that wants to come through, but I'm really intrigued and interested how this energy has affected you. And because I know I overheard, because I had a sharing with your partner, Alexi, that you had a lovely holiday, but the people around you were a bit fake. And I was looking at the photos that she was putting up, and I thought, wow, you had a really good time. You look so relaxed. So I'd love to hear what you've been going through, and if it's loving and great, that's great. I'll hear that as well.
I just want to
I just want to
say,
say,
first of all,
first of all,
it's really
it's really
an honor to
an
be with
honor
you
to be
this
with you this
morning.
morning.
And what you
And what you
shared there
shared there
really
really
touched,
touched,
really touched
really
me
touched me
deeply.
deeply.
And you and
And you and
Hazel
Hazel
have
have
come through a
come
lot.
through a lot.
And I just
And I
hope you
just
can
hope
find
you can find
peace there
peace
for a
there for
while.
a while. My body's shaking,
Good.
good. Starting to get trauma release. It's really good to talk to you.
So
So
due to our difficulties, I have been doing lots of Reiki. Because I've missed this. So yeah, as a family, we've had really a transformation. And what I mean by Moses
So that
Moses
oh yeah.
Alexi had shared that she wants to change color.
Right.
And little Mika has gone back to primary school.
Wow, that's a lot.
I was really proud of my family abroad. I did a lot of mission and floating in the ocean. And I really loved Alexi like I hadn't before. I was doing reflexology. I was Reiki, all of them throughout the holiday. I was taking care of the awareness of the times we're in. Because probably 120 miles away there was forest fires.
Where were you?
West Turkey.
Oh wow. Okay.
To the north, probably in Palestine. To the east was trouble in Turkey. So I spoke to some of the people and said I was having a difficult time being on holiday while people were suffering.
Yeah, I bet.
Felt really wrong. And the local consensus were, we're grateful you're here. And that you're thinking and try and switch off during holiday with your family. Something very profound happened. It was the eve of Moses turning 30. and we decided to go and do a little ceremony on the local beach. And I said, I'd like to float now and do my prayer. Would you join me? And he hadn't all week. So he came with me. In the prayer, I'd asked for something to show itself so that I could believe that everything was going to be okay. Everything that makes up what this is. All the matter, all the elements. And it was a big prayer. It was probably a 50-minute floating meditation and prayer.
Wow.
And up in the sky, I saw what I first thought was a bird. And I thought, that's too high. And before I felt like asking Moses his opinion, this object moved at considerable speed and stopped. I then said to Moses, who was floating next to me, who stayed with me for the 50 minutes at least, might be more, in deep water, just the two of us. I said, look at 12 o'clock, straight up. What do you think that is? And he said, that's too high for a bird. That's not a plane because it's stationary. It's not a drone. And then it moved again really fast to 9 o'clock and stopped. And then it turned and it was a triangle. And then it flashed a light and then went out.
Wow.
Moses said, Dad, that was a UFO. And I said, I think you're right. Now, because I've been waiting so long, many lifetimes, I think, for that, I asked Moses prior to it flashing, turning and flashing and flying out of our atmosphere. I said, can you look around to see if anybody else is seeing this, please? Because I don't want to take my eye off it. And he said, no one else is looking up, Dad. We then floated back. We sat in the waves and let the waves just move our bodies on the shore. So I was just relaxed, letting it turn me, pull me, drag me out, take me under. And we were both doing that. And then we got the hot rocks and we placed them on the chakra system. And then I put back 50 rocks, different shapes, different sizes into the ocean. And he did 12. And we were talking about shapes and sizes and color and why, what it represented about that age. So that took another 45 minutes. In the background, I'm going, in my head, you've just had a very special encounter, but not as excited as I thought I'd be. But I knew it was for me and Moses. So we were hungry and Moses said, can we go back and tell Mum? So we walked back really slowly, found Mum, and Anika, sat them
sat them
down,
down,
told
told them,
them, and
and
Lexi,
Lexi,
I saw
I
mine
saw
in
mine.
videos. So
Well,
welcome. And
and
then Anika went, I'm going to get back in the pool and got back in with mum.
then
And then Anika saw it, but no one else, even Lexi didn't see it. Anika then went, there it is. Mum couldn't see it, but Anika then saw it,
saw it,
evidently.
evidently.
And be the day I left, which is the
Which is
next
the next
day, I
day,
went
I
up
went
to
up
a
to a
very
very
grounded
grounded
Turkish man
Turkish man
who
who
my
my
higher self said, go and
said,
talk
go
to
and
him.
talk to him.
So I
So
interrupted him because he was having a Turkish
Turkish
tea and
tea and
cigarette with
cigarette with
somebody
somebody.
and said, could I
Said,
have
could I have
a moment
a
with
moment
him? And
with him?
would it be
Would it be
okay?
okay?
Talk about
Talk
something
about something
quite
that's quite
personal and I need
personal
some
and need some
privacy. So
privacy. So
he said,
he
yeah.
said, yeah.
And I told
And
him
I
my
told him my
story.
story.
And he
And
said,
he said,
yeah,
yeah,
it's been
it's been
seen
seen
here.
here.
But
But
the last
the last
time I
time
saw
I
it
saw
was
it,
probably 4 or 5
4 or
years
5
ago.
years ago.
And he
And
asked me to
he asked
describe it. And I said, well, it
And I
was
said,
so
well, it was
high up
so
my
high up
palm. I
my
know
palm,
it was
I know
definitely
it's
a
definitely a
triangle.
triangle.
And he said, yeah,
And he said,
that's
yeah,
it.
that's it.
So
So
we
we
collected some
some
memorabilia that
failure that
day,
day.
and that's on my
That's on my
altar.
altar.
And Moses got
Moses
it
got
around
it
his
around his
altar
altar
because
because
I
I
feel like
feel
we're going to be
like
okay, Alistair.
Yes.
I feel like
we're
we're
doing
doing the right things. And you
and
leaving
you
Wales and going there and wherever the next onward journey is, it's all part of your journey.
Yeah, yeah.
And you've
and
had an amazing insight into some sexual wounding, and it could be the biggest piece of work you've yet to do.
It is. I I sat, I think, 3 or 4 days in a row meditating on it for at least 2 hours. I went really deep, so deep that um, when I walked into the room, Hazel and Katie were like, "What have you done?" And I entered the sacred feminine space, which I've never done before. And I was initiated by Mary Magdalene. And I was wearing this with red trousers. And there was this postcard on Katie's mantle of Mary wearing blue and red. And it was really profound, and it helped me come to a level of depth where I was able to share with the feminine, these two really powerful women, you're missing something, ladies, you're missing something. And I'm going to probably get a little bit deep again here. I said, you're not listening. The men are dying. The men are dying, and you're not listening. And it's not their fault. It's this existential wound that sits in the masculine and separately in the feminine. And it's to do with war. It's what's going on everywhere, you know. It's war. The Ukraine, what's going on in Ukraine You know, the headlines that I've read are horrendous, and what's going on in Gaza is horrendous. And this is having an effect on everyone. But I just wanted to touch as well, you going on holiday and feeling guilty for enjoying yourself. When I came out of this a couple of days ago, I'm still coming out of it. I started to feel some happiness, and I said to Hayes and Katie, I feel guilty for being happy. I've never felt like that before.
No.
Right. And but the truth is, and I've always been told this by spirit, is that we need to be happy. We need to be happy to raise the vibration to help those people who are in suffering.
Yeah.
And so you going on holiday is profound. And the fact that you did your 15-minute meditation in the sea, you're sending out those light ripples into the
Yeah,
ocean.
that's right. Yeah. That's it.
Oh, my tripod nearly fell over one sec. Just balancing it. Bit of wind. Windermere, Lake Windermere.
Lake Windermere. Beautiful part of the world, mate.
Yeah, so what was I saying? Yeah, so the masculine and this war energy, and you're seeing extraterrestrials. And I've certainly had my own encounters with that. And I'm not sure, you probably don't listen to some of the channelings and quantum healing hypnosis techniques that people put online. And there's this one woman called Alison Coe who puts one on every several months that her clients allow her to put on. And she always asks the same questions to get a similar theme of what's going to happen. And a lot of them have said through channeling their higher selves that the ETs are going to come in their crafts, not land, but stay in the sky to help us through this time.
Yeah, there was definitely a message. And it was of calm. And it was also, we're watching, don't worry.
They really are, yeah.
And
Yeah.
and it was I didn't go running off the beach like I thought I would. Going, I've seen a UFO. I've seen, oh my. It was, that was very sacred and very special. And you may have been the only person that day to see that at that moment because you're open to seeing it.
Yeah, it's
It
not just
meant it meant a very special thing happened for me and my son,
yeah.
a boy that I'm raising who is already noticed for kindness, gentleness, and acceptance. And he's been praying for a friend, a young man that's desperate for a friend.
I know how that feels.
Me too, mate.
Yeah. Yeah, I wanna say that I met a child just before we left who was homeschooled, and I was shocked. It was like speaking to a kid from the 80s. He didn't have a mobile phone. He engaged in conversation. He looked me in the eye, and he was I haven't had that with all these other kids. They're on their phone. They're really antisocial
Mm,
and completely disconnected from their humanity.
100%. And their parents say, "Oh, that's normal for a teenager."
Well,
No, it's not.
screens are stealing people's
They're
life.
not looking up or out. around, they're looking into a screen.
Yeah, and they're bowing their head as well. So they're giving reverence to this darkness, you know, like this.
Yeah. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah. I suppose I didn't finish what I was saying about this the masculine not being heard. I think this is a really existential wound for me, and every time I see there's been a mass shooting, I know it sounds a really odd thing to say, but I can understand why they've lost the plot. So I started finding alternative news sites, and I found this one called Mother Jones, and it's incredible, really proper journalism. And they interviewed this mother whose son went on a massive killing spree in America. Really long article, not like the short ones you get, really long, like really good journalism, like almost like a book, you know, it would have been several pages. And this woman's so brave to come out and tell her story. And she tells like what happened in the lead up to it, how he was shut off and how he thought women were lesser, that they were, you know, all these horrible things, right? And this is what happens when you come into this narcissistic deep wound of family, and it's aimed at the mother, it's aimed at Gaia, right? And this is where I going to get really really profound with you. And I've seen this multiple times on my medicine journey. I was first shown it in 2023, where a bomb, in my vision, a bomb was going to be dropped. It was just a few months after the war started in Ukraine, where Russia were going to, I can't remember what year, 2022 or 2023, whenever the war started. I got this vision that Russia were going to drop a nuclear bomb on the Ukraine. And the vision I saw was that all of the tree spirits, all of the nature spirits, it was heart-wrenching to watch. They were so disappointed with us and so upset because they had to leave their homes. So I saw them leave the forest, leave the trees, and the forests are empty. And do you know why? Because it's not a war between men. It's not even a war between nations or religions. Those bombs that are being dropped are destroying the land and nature. It's a war between the masculine and feminine, which is Gaia. This deep wound, every woman, Gaia is every woman, right? I've seen this in Hazel. It's really profound. Gaia is our creator. She created us. We wouldn't be here without her. We walk on her soil. So all of these wars are from wounding, child, family wounding, creation wounding, that is so deep, men don't even know that they have it. And so this is what I say when I said to them, you're not listening. You're not listening to the pain of the masculine. And then I said, even if you did listen, you wouldn't be able to understand it because you're not a man. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Good. So you even if you did listen, you wouldn't be able to understand it because you're not a man in a man's body, right? And I felt so alone. And I was like, I really wish Michael was here because he would understand. But do you know what I saw in their eyes? I saw when I was talking about this, and I was really intense like this. I was coming with this deep dark, pure energy, and it was so intense. I mean, I'm intense on a normal day, right? but this was super intense, right? And I saw fear in their eyes.
Yeah.
Fear. Women are scared of men,
Yeah.
100%. And
Agreed.
I said, I don't want you to be afraid of me. I want you to listen. And this is what these men are going through. These men who want to kill themselves or want to kill other people. They want women to listen to their pain, but it can't. It can't be done like that. It has to be done in this really profound, safe shamanic space, right? But I'm doing this and doing this not just for myself, but for the masculine and the feminine, where I'm going through these wounds. I'm talking about them. You know, the when I go through these wounds, that the ego creates up such a narcissistic tripwire that I'm pushed towards separation, right? And this is why I felt like I wanted to kill someone, because I wanted to hurt myself. And this is where that killing energy comes from. It comes from the inside out. I wanted to hurt myself, because when this wound comes up, this wound that touches, you know, where it's like when the mother, you know, you cut yourself and wants to put alcohol on. That's love that's coming in. You're like, no, no, ow, 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 oh, ow. You know, it's like that at that basic level. Now, when you think about that, it's that wound that's been there for however many lifetimes, however many years, however many generations, through your blood, through your DNA, and someone comes to give it love, huge violent reaction. It's so painful. And I was on the brink, on the fucking brink. You know, Hazel's just love, 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 and I'm like, love. It was really horrible. It was like a caged animal. And I said to Hazel, you have to picture me like a caged uh, jaguar, I said. And I said, do you know how to heal an abused cat? Do you know how to heal an abused cat? And she said, just be kind to it, stroke it. I said, no, you have to be with it. You have to be with it until it's ready. Just be there, just to make it feel safe. You know, like there's those videos of people bringing in abused cats, and it won't let them anywhere near, you know, like dogs, and they just sit there night after night after night after night. That's love. That's how you deal with abuse, with the abused masculine. You just sit there and you listen and you feel, and you come with no agenda, no agenda. And unfortunately there's too many men out there who haven't had the initiations, the healthy initiations of how to feel, how to open the heart, how to share their emotions, how to overcome all of the humiliation, because humiliation is sexual abuse. That's what my journey has showed me, is that pointing at someone and saying, ha, 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 you know, but to me, it happened when I was naked, right? So that's really deep sexual abuse. But even if you're not naked and someone's pointing at a piece of your body, you know, like say, oh, you've got big ears, big nose, or you know, for women, small boobs, big bum, or whatever, you know, any form of bullying or negative connotations regarding the body is sexual abuse, because it's humiliating, and humiliation is an attack on life itself.
Well said.
Well said.
I think, you know, I've said it several times, but I say it again. Your Moses is a very lucky boy. He's such a incredible father. You talk about how great he is. He couldn't be that great without you and Alexi, you know. So what you've done is just, you know, you've hit the home run, Michael. I don't think anyone other than you could have experienced the life that you have, that you both have. You've both been through tremendous abuse, you know, not even speaking about Alexi's life, which is very similar to my own, very tumultuous. And everything you've been through, and you bring up two gems. That's a miracle. All of
It
you,
is.
the family is a miracle, you know.
Yeah, really is.
Yeah.
So glad to see you, mate.
So glad to see you, mate.
Mm. I'd also like to add that your sharings are today have been really beautiful. When I listen to you and you speak so calmly, it really takes me there. I can really see you floating in the water, and Turkey's a beautiful place, and the people are, you know, they're good people.
They're good
They're
people.
good people.
Yeah, and for you to be so close to that action, that warring action, and be doing that level of work in the ocean, because that's collective work you're doing there. You know, you're sharing the vibration of the water in your body with the vibration of the water outside of your body, and that travels around the planet, mate, and that goes through the water cycle, and that's rained down upon people, onto them, and inspires people. So good on you, man. I will also add as well that I was in such a terrible place, Michael, and I'm really ashamed to say this, but I thought our friendship was going to end. I thought I was going to push you away because I was so hurt.
No.
I felt I was in a really bad place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like I've lost everything. And as soon, as soon as we got here, I said, Hazel, I need some help. Can we contact one of our guides? And our guide said, you need to be still and silent. And I said, are you joking? Are you joking? And that's when I started to freak out. I said, how can I be still here? I don't want to be here. Why am I here? And I couldn't get the answers. And then I sat in meditation. It took me 2 hours to get the answer from my heart. And I got that I'm homesick from
Of
Scotland.
course you are.
And then it's strange because I grew up, you know, with loads of trips, family trips to Scotland, where my family are from. I never felt the deep love that I did when I went back last year with Hazel. And we didn't want to leave, and we left, and we made a life. We tried to make a life in Wales, and it never felt right. It never felt right for us. There's been enormous abuse to the land in Wales, enormous abuse, because we tried everything to connect, but the land is so weak there. It's so weak. I mean, it's just miles and miles in Pembrokeshire, just as far as the eye can see in every single direction, agricultural. fields separated into camps. All of that sovereign land destroyed. And you come here, and it's protected, like the equivalent of a national trust here, where corporations have bought forest land and tried to bulldoze it, and they've said no. So this area is protected. I'm surrounded by trees right now. I'm living essentially in a forest, and I feel really protected and safe. But what I've realized is that it doesn't matter how safe my surroundings are. If I don't feel safe in my body, I won't feel safe anywhere. And so I don't know how I'm going to do it, Michael, but I will, is to heal this wounding so that I can feel safe in my body. And this is where PTSD comes from. It doesn't come from watching your mate get killed or being in a war zone or splitting your head open or getting your head kicked in like I did, or the multiple things that happen. It all stems from sexual abuse. And if there are people out there who might listen to this and think that they haven't received sexual abuse, that's what I thought. It doesn't show itself how you may think. It could be an insult from a parent, from a mother, from a sibling. It can be something really small, like, hey, will you watch a movie with me? Daddy, mummy, will you watch a movie with me? No, son, I don't have time. It can be that simple. Really. Because that's what came up for me, is disappointment. Being let down. It's all when you're that young, you're that open, you're that vulnerable, you're that hypersensitive. I'm talking autistic here. This is not, autism isn't preserved for those people who are on the spectrum. We're all sensitive at that young age. And autism is just a name for hypersensitivity of that wound. That's why they need that level of control. Where are we going today? We are going this direction, and we will be there in 35 minutes. If you change that and say, we're going in this direction today, you have a complete wobbly. I'm the same. I've been through that. I have those symptoms. That's autistic.
Mm-hmm.
But that word autism turns it into an illness. It's not an illness. It's just hyper sensitivity to love and fear. And if there is fear, they need control. And if they lose control, then they lose control.
Mm.
So I'm working through all of this, and it's very difficult doing it without men. And I keep seeing it, not just in my own life, but in everyone's life, that the men aren't stepping up. It's I understand it, but it's really difficult at the moment, Michael. Not just for me, but I think for everyone.
What's coming up for me? What's coming up for me is the 1 and the 2. I like that. And the 3's always been a problem. At the moment, the 1 and the 2, Alistair and Michael, as you're in integration, is how it should be. But I think there might be a time where we've got to get this brotherhood maybe weaved into the sisterhood.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Whenever
But
I've gone, oh,
at the moment, you reach out if you need me. Reach out. And equally, I'll reach out to you if I need you. Don't remember that. That's what you've always said to me. Don't worry. Just reach out. If I'm available, I'll be there. And I'm saying that to you now. I'm returning that golden nugget. If you're needing more time with me, just reach out. I think you're onto something really big here.
Thank you.
For transpersonal, but it's like the I'm not okay, and you're gonna find I'm okay. I'm okay, but to want to return home to Scotland to complete part of this, maybe this medicine wheel you're on, it'll be it's very possible that that's where you're heading. And whether that's right now or in the future, who knows?
I'm going to go there next week to see what's up.
But wherever you go, we're gonna all be close.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, Hazel said reach out to Michael, and because of what I was going through, and again, this is this existential masculine wound. It's easier to choose destruction than love.
Yeah,
Yeah, of course.
And I get a lot of coding from anime, Japanese anime, and I've been watching this really profound series called Naruto. And it's like 500 episodes. I've been going through it for the past like 2 years. And it's coming towards the end, and it's so profound. And there's this great sage, and he had this fight with the great mother, very in alignment with what we're talking about. And all the land was destroyed during their battle. And so he goes around to the villages in this really grounded way to connect with the people to rebuild. And he meets this thief who stands at the edge of this bridge where the bridge has been broken, and he charges people to cross instead of fixing the bridge. So the sage says, I'm going to fix the bridge. And he said, well, if you're all so powerful, why don't you just do it like that? He said, because I want to create it with you. I want to work with you to create it. And he said, I don't want you to, because I will lose out on money. And he said, okay, well, I'm going to start. And eventually he joins in. And he said, okay, I'll help you, but when we build it, I'll destroy it. And then when they're halfway to building it, this guy who wanted to destroy it, all of a sudden he's now happy. And he said, why am I happy? And he said, because to destroy something is easy, but to build something takes time. But when you build something, you build connection, you build love within yourself, and you develop new skills. And what happened was that the rest of the people in the forest and the tribes see what they're doing, and they join in, and it creates this enormous pride, and they build this really strong bridge. And that's what this is. You're talking about the three. We're building a bridge with humanity, with everyone, and it is easier to destroy. It's easy to hurt people, and it's very difficult for men to go, I'm choosing for love, choose to create. And this is the wounds that the feminine don't fully understand. don't fully understand. And this is why men need to connect. You know, I spoke about incels at the beginning about these mass shooters. It's not just that they can't connect with women, it's that they're loners, they don't have men in their life. And I traced it back to not having a responsible father in their life, not having a loving father in their life. And you know, my dad has abandoned me as an adult, but as a child, he made sure that I knew my heritage. He took me to Scotland. He made sure that I lived in life. He took me out all the time. You know, he's a landscape gardener, so he was outside all the time. And so I, you know, and he didn't join in that humiliation of me when I was a child. He's the only one in my family who didn't join in on that humiliation. And so I honor that. You know, I had that healthy father figure. I don't have that now, but I had it then, and that's a foundation for me. There's a lot of men out there who don't have that, and so they don't have that strong leadership of how to respect and revere the feminine. You know, I'm also lucky to have a really great mother. My mother has supported me and loved me no matter how I behaved through everything. And she's supported Hazel and I when all the chips were down. You know, Hazel came back from Holland. She's deeply abused. She got thrown out of the house by her mother, and she said, "Just tell her to come live with us. Do you need some money? Here's some money. Do you need some food? Here's some food. Do you need clothing? Here's some clothing." You know, there's so much love there, and if men don't have that, I can completely understand why they go off the rails. I completely get it. And this is why we need this, you know, what you and I have. We need this on a grand scale.
We have it.
We have it.
Yeah, it is there.
But when you talked about
When you talked about
the cage
the
or the abused
the
cat, before you
before
revealed how
reveal
you attend to that,
you intend to that,
and that in representation of the
the
masculine struggling to
to
emotionally evolve and be okay
and be
with self and self concept, my immediate internal felt sense was just to be with it,
just be
to say nothing. And you're right, women don't
with
think that way because they're
because
Gaia. They have all the magic. And so
that's
probably one of the first pieces of magic that will come up would be to say some soothing
soothing
words or to
words or
touch,
to touch.
where we're just to hold, but not physically,
But
just be there. And I think you're absolutely bang on there. And this is a
and this
very
is
beautiful session,
a
but
but
check in, sharing. This is this is transpersonal. This is strong connection. You can't get better than this. And you created this. You sent the invite. You've made the effort to get online today. And I thank you for that. I feel deeply touched by your sharing today, your insights, how you articulate yourself. You're real, Alistair. And I want you to be still while you're there. I really want you to be uncomfortable in stillness. And I want you to weep. I want you to talk to your inner child. Talk to your little Alistair that was shaking in the downstairs shower room.
Mm.
And I want you to tell him from the Father that's in you something that would mean something to that young Alistair.
Yeah, thank you. Mm. Yeah, this stillness that you talk about is been a real issue for me because there's so many distractions that have taken me away from what my father taught me, which is being life. And so when there is stillness, I feel I need to move, I need to talk. Hazel's such a great mentor. She's just shoved her phone in her socks drawer since we've been here, and she said, I feel so much more in life. I'm like, ah. So I'm going on walks up mountains and caves and rivers, and there's even some islands here which you can which I've swam to, which is amazing. Swam to one with Hazel yesterday, and we had a chat. The swans swimming around the island. So it's like the perfect place for rehab, you know. That's what it feels
Yeah,
like. Yeah, going
that's
through
it.
rehab. Yeah, and there's a lot of spirits here. It's very safe. A lot of nature spirits. Now and again, you get the fighter jets. Almost every day, fly through the valley. They use it as a training place for. I think they're training some Ukrainians. That's what I've been told. Because the landscape here, this valley, is very similar to certain places abroad. So they come through here, and it's deafening, and you can see them in the cockpit because they're so low. It's horrendous. But there's no malicious energy they bring. It's just you know, these. Hazel said something really profound. She said, "Those are boys with their toys when they lose the true purity of warriorship." And I was like, "Whoa, that's true. That's true. When you forget how to fight for love, you find toys to play with, and what greater toy to play with than a war machine? Gives you a lot of power. You know, all that power is flying through the air. Think about how much power that man must feel, have being in control of that. And his responsibility is taken away from him because he just follows orders. Right? That's the escape responsibility, dropping bombs because they were told to do it, and that's okay. Did it for your country. I'm sorry, I think that's total bullshit. That's escaping responsibility. To fight for love, to fight for your country is to not drop bombs, to find another way. Drop love bombs, not bombs of destruction.
Yeah. But yeah, to rest with the forest spirits and processing what you guys gone through, from cramming everything that you own into a car and doing 3 journeys to storage, hurting your back in the process, triggering so much in you, and having hostilities with the landlady.
Yeah.
It's and I don't want you focusing on, I need to be busy, I need to be proactive, I need to be creative, I need to be this, I need to be that. No. Take the saint hospitality and honor the land and let it heal you.
Yeah, that's true. I feel that. Yeah. Thank you. Gosh, yeah, you're right on target with that. Thank you for saying that. I've been feeling the land trying to connect with me, but they're like, whoa, let's just give him some time to calm down. You know, it's that. I was like, ah.
That's it. Your awareness is massive, Alistair. You know what you're doing. You do, but you're facing strong emotions that are real.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're not true, but they're real.
Yeah.
Well, you can ask yourself anyway. Yeah, they're real. What I'm feeling is real, but is it true?
Well, do you know what? I did that. And this is where belief comes in. I did that. Like the whole polyamory thing, is this real? And I constantly got, no, this is not real. I
Yeah.
must have asked 200 times. I even did it. I even did a written channeling from my soul for myself, saying, you know, what the fuck are you doing to me? What are you doing to me? Why am I going through this? And I just kept hearing, but the same message over and over. It's not what you think. It's not what you think. And I said, then why does it keep coming up? Why does it keep coming up? And it was to do with what I told you about the how convoluted a wound of sexual abuse at such a young age spirals into society's idea of exploitation of life force energy, which is sexual energy, because it's been exploited.
And I'm going to feed into that, and I think we've got to really focus some of our lens and energy towards that conversation going forward, because I can feed into the chat with some of the females I'm holding at the moment and some of the males that have come through. So some of the females have come through the Leonardo Trust and the BCHA, that charity. So where the husband is abusing them physically, emotionally, sexually. So there's a lot of content I can bring to our chat for you to help me hold that person. And then, interestingly enough, I've had 2 males come to me recommended that I'm going to be holding, and we're talking about abandonment, trust, fear, sex, money, identity,
Wow, there's a woodpecker. Sorry to interrupt. There's a woodpecker.
Enjoy. That's me.
Wow, you probably can't hear it, but it's going. Wow. There's a jet coming past. 1 second.
Holy shit.
They look like Spitfires.
Holy smoke.
Oh, it's just gone crazy here all of a sudden. There's just all these birds have just come out of nowhere. There's tree creepers, blue tits, woodpeckers. Oh my god. It's just all of a sudden just burst of life. Go on.
Perfect. Just what you need. That's what you need. I think because you're so always doing deep exploration in self, and I want you to be a bit more external for once. I want you to really notice where you are, the nature. Use those senses, really taste everything, touch everything, take your time with walking.
Yeah.
Really take your time. You deserve it.
You're a good mirror of maturity, Michael. I've really matured in these past 12 days because, you know, one of the things I was doing was filling gaps of silence with just words. And now I'm connected to my heart when I'm speaking. And to me, that is, it's hard to put into words. It's like I'm in my body. I'm sitting in myself. And you do that, and I know you hone that, and you honor that, and you give gratitude to that every time I see you. And I've always looked at you and go, how does he do that? And I think I'm starting to learn how to do that. But when I connect with you, it feels like such a relief for my system to be sat opposite someone who's already done it.
Mhm. And like
And
you
like
say,
you say, this is
what's important for us,
important for us
what this does to
to
work we're doing in preparation. We're going through this in order to maybe have every little, as much as we can, part of the masculine covered so that we can
we can
not be in a place of needing to know everything where we're just like, wow, this has come up in me. I thought I'd done loads of work. I'm suddenly feeling that I've not done any self work. Like
Yeah.
that's hugely going from spiritual emergency to suddenly I'm really close to my heart now. You've you've not been forced, but nature has forced you that in that direction.
direction.
Yeah, leaving Wales feels like you know, Hazel felt this as well. It feels like it never happened. It feels like we disappeared from,
Wow.
and it was like a year of trauma. So we weren't supposed to be there, and so we retraced our steps and said, why did we leave Scotland? And there's obviously a reason, many reasons why we had to be there, but it's really weird. It's like we were never there. And my body's still shaking. I'm still releasing from this conversation. It's really profound. But yeah, I'd love to just talk to you about your the people that you're supporting.
Well, you're supporting. You're supporting. You are part of that. You are part of that.
Yeah,
I want you to
love,
be a part of
I
that.
love being in service to um, men and women who don't understand. Because I always say this to everyone I meet: is that being a teacher or being a mentor, it's always important to remember where you came from. Because I've witnessed people who went through difficulties, and when they become a teacher and someone's fallen over in front of them, they've laughed at them. And I said to them, you did that. You fell over. Help them up. You know? And so I always remember where I come from. And that's what makes a good teacher, you know? And so it helps me receive my own love, being in service to people like that. I think it is difficult for me to receive love from others, and this is why I've got all this wounding working in the 3.
Yeah.
And the fact that you saw a triangular UFO as well, working with this, you know, this 3, the triangle, it's profound. And I'm really happy for you that you got to experience that with your boy. That's just magic. On his 13th, you know, 13 is the divine feminine number.
I'd like to think that Moses were on that craft.
You mean as mirror?
Well, I just don't know. As future humanists, as future Homo sapiens looking back at this time, just saying it's going to be okay.
Yeah. Well, they are our brothers and sisters, and I have experienced this. You know, I speak to them quite a lot when I'm not stressed out, and they are our brothers and our sisters, and they do look out for us. They're not above us. They just chose a life in a different frequency, a different body, a different dimension. And they look at, you know, they look up to us and we look up to them. And the fact that you're mirroring yourself with what you saw it's incredible. I don't even have to tell you.
I didn't share that with Moses, but I felt that we were looking back at ourselves.
Wow.
And I always treasure.
I'm really happy for you. You're I also want to say you're a different man since you cut your hair off. It's like you dropped a lot. It really feels like you've come more into your own independent sovereignty.
I'm here. I've worked on the grounding because the base, obviously, I'd like to say that divine feminine is probably stronger than the divine masculine. If you want to try and weigh up fat pound for pound, the feminine's got a stronger bite, got a stronger impulse. But the sacral, or that kundalini, or that feminine serpent energy, that area, I've always been really happy with my sexual strangeness and curiosity and energy. That always felt safe. I always felt very sexually okay and very alive, if you like. But still, it feels a million miles away sometimes. I feel very unsure about that. The solar plexus, if we're going to work up the chakra system, and maturity, was all the stuff I went through with my first daughter, and being my own protector of my emotions, and learning that my mum and dad weren't going to be able to do it for me anymore, and I had to step up and protect myself from really dark energy. The heart came about through just walking my right path. So I suddenly stopped thinking that everything was external and that having loads of nice things would be the answer. And actually, through all the traumas and pain that life throws at us, my heart, that light that was always there, that knowing that everything will be okay, that how exciting it is to be in the pain, how exciting it is to feel sorrow and abandonment and aloneness. The joy in that is beautiful if you just sit with it. And I had music and dance to support me. I had water and fire. And I didn't do it ceremonially because I had no clue what really I was doing. But I remember those elements and that apparatus being available naturally. But where I'm at, where I feel I'm at, is the throat. I'm starting to speak my truth. So this is where I feel I'm really at. And I'm unblocking that.
Yeah. Okay.
That's where I feel I'm at, which is really interesting. And since the hair's gone, there's a sense of just lightness. But I'll always pay homage, and I am a revivalist. I have got that belief that we can, as males, we can stop fighting one another. I've got that belief that we can actually sit around with a peace pipe, and we can meet each other in our fears.
Yeah, you've got a lot to teach men, Michael. I learned so much from you. You're incredible. I want to touch on the throat chakra. This will really help you embody it more. It doesn't go black, red, orange, yellow, green, blue. It goes black, blue, red. The voice comes from the root. So feel it in the earth, and the earth star chakra is purpose and emotional stability, and you have that in bucket loads, but perhaps you're not fully aware of your divine purpose, the reason why you're here and your role in that.
Yeah.
I'm actually to gift Katie for everything she's done for us. I'm actually going to take her through that because it's so profound and life-changing to open up the earth star chakra and work on those 5 elements, those 5 animals, those 5 ancestors. It's life-changing. It completely changed my life when I found out what was inside my earth star chakra. It's profound. And so what I realized when I started to heal the voice, the throat chakra, when it finally started to come up, and it takes a very long time, and it's not just, oh, now I've done it. It's who you truly are. It's who we truly are. And what I mean by that is, I'll tell you what happened, right? Hazel's got a half brother. He's been through hell, absolute hell, right? Foster child. That's all I need to say, right? And I'm sure you understand, right? Yeah. So we invited him to Wales and sat opposite me and Hazel to the left in ceremony. And he's amazing, right? But he thinks he's a piece of shit, right? And I said to him, right, my voice started to come through, this voice. And I just said to him, I said, I look up to you, Jim. And he went, fuck off, no. You don't look up to me. And he said something like, it just came out. He said, I'm worthless. He said that. Like, he didn't mean to say it, but he said it. I said, you're not worthless. I said, I look up to you. He says, how can you look up to me? I said, you're fucking amazing. And he started crying. And then in that moment, I turned to Hazel and I said, this is who I am. This is who I am. Because I had the courage to tell a man I loved him. And that was really difficult because I'm sat opposite someone who has been through hell and I can feel it. And he's mirroring that to me. And through all of that abuse, I can tell him, you're incredible and I love you.
Maybe that's what Wales was about.
Well, yeah, and we had the women there as well. That was the highlight. That was the highlight. Having the women come there was utterly life-changing. Not just for them, but for us, you know. And it's still opening up. It was so big, you know, the chalice.
Yeah.
To have 5 women who, how do I put into words, that honored their own journey by honoring our wisdom, and then their faces, you know, at the end of it are like, oh my God, you know, this is real tribe. This is real. You know, there's no words for it.
No words.
And to speak to a man like you, with one of those women, Alexi, that came here, and you then turn to me and say, yeah, I get it. I'm like, wow. And you know, you're in that respect, you remind me of the great part of my father. You know, you're a man of the earth, and that's why you understand. That's why you understand feminine, because you're a man of the earth, not just of the sky.
No. I'd like to do that journey with you.
We will.
How are you
When
doing?
Yeah, I'm doing really well. I really appreciate this conversation. My battery's really low, so we're gonna have to bring this to an end. But my whole body's shaking. Like, I can't stay still. So this has been enlightening for me, and uh, I feel so much love for you.
And you. You need to do what your body needs to do. So if you need to curl up, curl up. If you need to jump up and down, jump. If you need... He might be back. I might have to close on Alistair's behalf to all those who've been watching. I felt this was real, authentic, divine masculine working with the real divine feminine. These are the times when we both and men most need. Times of crisis, of times of transformation. So whether this is recorded or not, but if it is, to the directions, and Alistair knows the right way of ending a ceremony like this, but I'm just going to do it with north, south, east and west, above and below. And to all our spirit guides and angels, to the plant realm and animal realms, to all living things. Hopefully, Alistair will find some peace in the lakes, in the trees. But thank you for tuning in. If you've sat with this, sending love in these dark times. Aho.